And then, okay, so oh, okay, I'm gonna pause that. All right, Nancy's gonna be so proud of me. I hit the recording button. She's gonna be really proud of me about that. So, and then I'm gonna share my screen and I will go to my slides. Nancy's in charge of all of everything tech. So she always helps me when I get into trouble.
Hey, Maria.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know that I'm going to pretty much stay on mute the whole time because I'm still working, but I dialed in so I could listen while I'm doing my route. So if you ask me anything, I probably won't respond.
That's okay. That's okay. It's nice that you can work and be here with us. So we're just happy for that. All right. So one of the, we're going to bridge into week 2 here. And even if you haven't been too much deep into week 1, that is okay. We'll get you guys up to par and you'll be all caught up. So don't worry if you feel like you haven't done the full ultimate week 1. Let's see, maybe. I don't know why it's not working. There. Okay, so everybody here is, we're not here because we're good, so we're just gonna have to learn to be great, right? And you're gonna learn that in this process. And did Gabe already kind of told us about his win of his first week where it got into ketosis. Did anybody else have any wins? Miss Cynthia, how was your trip and being on? Did you have any wins during your week?
Actually, my grandkids were here for the last 3 days, and each time I eat, I say, this is my last meal. This is my last before I start. So I'm a week behind, but since I'm not doing 3 meals a day and a snack, I'm only doing, intermittent fasting already. I'm just here to support the team until everybody gets into 2 meals a day. So I'm good.
Hey, good. No, perfect. I love it. Anybody else have a win that they want to share? And if not, that's okay. So we just kind of talked about the recap of the 2-2-2 rule. This is, and I'm going to tell you why we use each different type of fat. So your medium chain triglyceride, which is coconut oil, each type of fat will help grow different microbiota in your gut. So we want to have a little bit of each flora. So we have a good symphony, as I like to call it, or the analogy of a soccer team. You can't win a soccer team, or you can't win a soccer game with 19 goalies. You have to have every member of the team. And so that's why having each different type of fat will help us have a better microbiota. So 2 tablespoons of butter or ghee. These are short chains. Olive oil, this is a monosaturated fat, so very easy to break down. And then macadamia nut or avocado oil, which are long chains. And then the 2 teaspoons of sea salt. The reason why this is important is because as you start to take out carbohydrates, you're going to lose water. So there are 3 grams of water for every gram, 3 grams of water for every gram of carbohydrate. So as you start to cut the carbohydrates out, you're going to lose water, and water and salt stick together. And so out goes the minerals. And this is when you can start to get cramping, magnesium can get low, those sorts of things. So the salt will help you pull the water in. Does all that make sense? Anybody have a question about that? No? Okay, cool. And if you hit the little raise your hand button, I might not see it. So you can actually like physically raise your hand if you want to. Yeah, there's a little function for that, but I probably can't see it with you guys on the sidebar there. So our first week, you're really gonna try to get yourself off the blood sugar roller coaster. And that's the having, having coffee in the morning and then having a muffin and then having some nuts and then having a kombucha and doing that roller coaster throughout the day. And the first week, at least and I know for me this time, actually, I only had one day that was pretty bad, like my very first day of really bad headache, but that's coming off of that roller coaster and getting your body so it doesn't need that sugar all the time and you don't kind of crave that. So week 2 is where we really get to have the magic begin. And this is where we start to have ketones start to elevate in the bloodstream. And don't worry if your ketones don't start to rise this week. We will talk about, you may go into week 3 and that might be where you start really getting your ketones to get more elevated. And if they don't become elevated, we can discuss that even further and try to figure it out. On the email I sent, I put this, what's called a neuro toxic questionnaire. If you fill that out, you can send me your test, and then we can kind of talk about possible toxicity level and where you may be having an issue, and that we can help you get deeper in. And you may have no toxicity at all, and you're amazing, and your ketones will go high immediately. So, and then next week we'll talk about discovering your personal eating window. For everybody, this is going to be different. And it just depends on, again, where you're metabolically flexible. Some people are more flexible than others. Like some people can touch their toes and other people cannot. And we just have to work on it, and it gets better with time. We start to, week 4, tap into that subcutaneous fat storage. And week 5 is where we really become more efficient fat burners. Week 4, we talk about something called the 5-1-1. And that's where we have 1 fasted day a week, and we'll talk about that. And week 2, we will have 2 fasted days a week, and we'll talk about that during that time. And then week 6, you can look forward to your 5-day. And don't be too nervous when I tell you 5-day fast. I will promise to find an option that's good for you and right for your body for right now. And then last, I'll talk to you about feeding and how you refeed and refeed appropriately. And it's not going to the buffet. So week 2 is about eating just less times, not less often. So I don't want you to think that, okay, now she's taken away all my snacks and now I'm going to go from 2,000 calories to 1,500 calories. I still want you to have the same amount of calories. I just want you to do it within those 3 meals. We've already stated this about, most people are in this constant feed state, and they're constantly making their glucose go up and up and up. And people don't really see themselves as eating that many times a day because they don't think that the few little things that they put in their mouth are considered a meal, and they're not really considered a meal. They're just something that's spiking your glucose. So anything that stimulates your glucose, so even if it's coffee, black coffee, if it actually stimulates your glucose to rise, is really the same thing as quote unquote a meal, because it makes your glucose go up. But we will figure out the coffee thing for you if coffee is actually a problem, and I'll teach you about that next time. And so don't worry about it now. You can have your coffee, I promise. I know people were getting scared right there, thinking you were going to have to go without. So research shows that we used to think that people who ate less lived longer, but it's not really about eating less. It's just less often. So you can still have even 1 meal a day and get all your calories in. Granted, it's a very calorie rich, dense meal, but you can still, that's actually better because you can, when you're in that period of having a lower glucose level, you will actually, create your body to dig into that fat storage and start to make cells turn over, and only the strong cells are going to survive. And I'll touch on that a little bit more in the next few slides. Everyone for a long time has really told us about calorie deprivation. I'll tell you why this doesn't work. So your basal metabolic rate, so BMR, is your metabolism. And this is how fast your body burns calories, and it's what calories you need to sustain yourself. So every time you reduce your calories, you start to slow your metabolism. And I love this is going to work at first for somebody, but over a long period of time, if you can imagine that you're in a cabin and every single winter, you make the wood pile yay high, and that survives through the winter. If you start to get towards the end of your pile and you're realizing that the snow does not look like it's ending anytime soon, you're going to start burning at a lower rate. You're going to start putting less logs in the fire. So now calories, you start to slow that basal metabolic rate, so you want to keep storage on. And so over the long term, caloric restriction does not work. It only slows down the basal metabolic rate of the body. Does that make sense to everybody? Anybody questions about? Yeah, okay. So hormones play a really key role in weight loss and lasting energy, and it's better to optimize them instead of taking them. And I do prescribe hormones for people. In many ways, these can be just Band-Aids, because if the cell is not energy efficient, it doesn't matter how much hormone I put onto the cell. If it can't talk to the cell next to it, we're never going to get anywhere. And I'll talk about this. I'll show you a picture in the next slide, which will make this even more sense. But our bodies have an innate intelligence to survive, and it wants to survive at all cost. And so when it feels threatened, it's going to marshal up and it's going to surge hormones. When it's going to surge not sex hormones, it's going to surge adrenaline and epinephrine and norepinephrine, which are the ones that make you run from the bear. And when you're running from the bear, you're not going to sit down and want to have babies. You're going to just be running from the bear. So this is when someone comes to me and their hormones are all over the place, so much of that is because the body is feeling threatened by some type of, whether it be bad oils in the diet, or just a bad diet altogether, or viruses, or whatever it may be. If it's threatened, the hormones start to go out of whack pretty quickly. And not being able to control cravings to a healthy diet is more about hormones than it is about discipline. And many people, get on themselves about why they can't stay to a diet. And if the hormones are off, it's going to be really hard to be able to follow a really good plan, because you're looking for a dopamine burst, or you're looking for something else outside of the hormones to get what you need. So I do like to share this slide only for the fact that, so last year, before I was hospitalized, I had a big problem, and I had Lyme, and I also had CMV, and my hormones, this was a panel that I did on myself, and I'm a young woman who should be able to have estrogen. And these are all your different types of estrogen. And you can see this would be high and this would be low. And do you see how I have no estrogen at all in my body, going on, like very, very little. And so this just reiterates that hormones will drop out first when the body feels threatened. So optimizing hormones, that we've seen this over time, that by eating less often, we can have better, this starts to actually raise our growth hormone. And growth hormone is what makes us run faster, jump higher. It's the elasticity for our skin. And we want to be able to have good growth hormone. And so when we eat less often, we actually stimulate the pituitary in our brain to make more growth hormone. this also prevents our body from going into starvation mode for survival. The hormones will change to improve our health and longevity. There's other ways to optimize hormones outside of just fasting or eating less often. So things that we can do to stress the body are things like hot and cold therapy. So like cryotherapy, or really cold showers and then warm showers and sauna. Those things tell the body that they need to, constricting and releasing. And that is ways of starting to optimize hormone, using hyperbaric chambers, exercise, and then diet variation between feast and famine. So this is, many of you have seen my picture of the cell. So this is our phospholipid bilayer. So these two double layers of cells are two of the lining of the wall. And then on the cell, you have hormone receptors, and you have 30,000 different types of receptors. So you have micronutrients, you have sex hormones, you have thyroid, and they all wait for a signal to come in. And if you have inflammation, you start to create this gelatin kind of layer that goes around the cell like this. And this does not allow the signal to come in and talk with the hormone receptor. And this is how we start to be able to make the cell more sensitive and the hormones better, because as you start to decrease this inflammation, now the signal is clear for the receptor site to come in. And if this cell has this going on and then has to talk to the cell next to it, they're not going to communicate. So it doesn't matter what we do with putting hormones on top of it, they're never going to quite talk and say what they need to say. So these are a few reasons for cellular inflammation. So sugar is a number one culprit for a cause of cellular inflammation. Bad fats. So bad fat would be considered vegetable oil, and they're oils that stay liquid in the refrigerator. So that's canola oil, cottonseed, corn, and then sunflower, safflower, and soy oils. And I really, really encourage you to look on your packaging and see if any of those oils are in something that you might be having. So check your bars, check your creamer. If it's anything that comes in a box, a can, or in a plastic wrapper, make sure that these oils are not in them. Anyone need clarification on those oils or any reason why? No.
I just want the list again.
Oh yeah, and I'll share this on Facebook too, but it's so 3 C's and 3 S's. So corn, canola, and cottonseed, and then soy, sunflower, and safflower. So if you could think about a sunflower and having to get the oil out of the seed, you're going to have to squeeze that seed, and then you're going to have to put hexane and other type of chemicals on it to extract the oil. And then, so this is why it's so bad for our bodies, because if we have to put that much work into processing the oil down, what does our body have to do to process it out? So that's the reason why those specific oils are the bad ones, and they are the ones that stay liquid in the refrigerator. So butter, ghee, avocado oil, all those things will harden up when you put them in the fridge. All right. So we can force adaptation. Our cells want to survive at all costs. So when we fast and do things like cryo, we force these cells to become stronger. And if they're a very weak cell, they're going to die off. They're not going to hang on, and they're not going to keep up. So new rules that we're going to adopt this week, and even if it's your first week, we can see where you are with your roller coaster. So if you're someone that goes, Maria, I'm totally okay, I can have 3 meals and I cannot snack, we're going to just put a little distance in between those meals. And if you're someone that you say that all you do is graze throughout the day, and this is your first week, try to do 3 meals, 2 snacks, or do 3 meals, 1 snack. So we'll kind of see where you are in that spectrum. Everybody else, just 3 meals, no snacking. And then we are going to lower carbohydrates. So the first week, I wanted everybody to kind of look at how many carbohydrates you're having, and then half it. So if you have 300, I want you to have 150. That can feel like a big change. So this week, if you were at, say, 150, I want you to go to 75. If you can go to 50 net carb, and we'll talk about what a net carb is. So a net carb is your carbohydrate minus your fiber. So if you eat something with 10 carbohydrates and 5 grams of fiber, you have 5 net carbs. Does that make sense? And so this week, when I say carbs, I want you to, it's your net carb. So I want you to have 50 grams of net carb. And if you're someone that's just, this is your first week and that seems very undoable because you're used to 200 carbohydrates, just get yourself to 175, something like that, okay? I want this to be manageable. I don't want you to get to 2 days in and then want to say nice things about me in pretty language. Okay, so then we're going to continue our 2-2-2. We will never stop doing the 2-2-2 rule. This goes throughout the program. If you're having a problem, I'm going to ask, did we complete the 2-2-2? Because many times it's because we're not getting our salt in, or we're not getting enough of our fats. My mom will always come and she'll be like, I don't know why. I'll stand up and I'll get dizzy. And I'll say, Mom, did you have your salt? And she goes, oh no, was I supposed to still do that? Yes, Mom. So we got to just remember the 2-2-2. And if you forget, I'll re-put the rules back in your email so everybody remembers. And I'll also put the oils, the 3 C's and the 3 S's in your email as well. Okay. So the brain of our cell is our mitochondria. Ooh. I think that slide is out of order. And I don't really think that, I'm going to let you not have that slide just because I think it's just misplaced there. Okay, so what to expect this week. So you're going to expect ketone production. And if you're a sugar burner, you're going to feel a little bit more headache. You're going to feel a little bit more dizzy and a little, as we could say, hangry or just irritable between meals. And this will start to go away. This will be forced and it will get better. Missing meals and snacks will start to cause mitochondrial fitness, and everybody wants to be and have good MMF, right? So every time we miss a meal or we start to push our feeding window, we start to stress the cell, and this causes it to be a more efficient fat burner. We cutting back on meals will start to increase stem cells in the body. We start to create cell autophagy, and I'll tell you exactly what that is. The body knows to eat bad cells first. And it's kind of like if we both run a race and you've been practicing hills and I haven't, and we both go for that hill and you keep pushing the pace, pushing the pace, pushing the pace, who falls off the back is going to be me. So every time you stress the cell, it's either going to abide and it's going to get stronger, or it's going to die off. And you want those cells that aren't going to be able to hang on to get off your bus. It's just like a new exercise regime. Every time you do something new, you're going to be a little bit sore. So it may not feel wonderful the first couple days, but you will get stronger and it gets better. Cynthia can attest to this. Gabe can attest to this. They wouldn't be here if they wouldn't, didn't believe in this and didn't make them feel so much better. And they know when they go too far away that it kind of hurts too. So you want to come back. You want to stay warm close to the fire. So bottom line, less meal, less meals, less snacking, and this starts to create autophagy. So autophagy, I like to think about as the big giant Pac-Man that eats all the bad cells, that all of the ones that are not going to be able to hang on up the hill. And your body will start to eat the bad first. They will stimulate the stem cells to replace the bad ones. Older white cells, those are the ones that drop off first. These are the cells that overreact when we eat, to like they overreact to foods. So when I have a patient that starts to tell me they're hypersensitive to a whole bunch of different types of foods, they have a lot of these old white blood cells hanging around. These ones also drive up inflammation. So if we have a lot of joint inflammation, that's what this is coming from. And these will drop off. You'll notice you'll have less swelling in your hands, less swelling in your feet. Joints start to feel better. Your rings will fit differently. And then new immune cells are less reactive. You'll feel better and live longer and just be healthier with, you know. Okay, so reasons that you might not get into ketosis would be environmental toxins, and that's everything from plastics to phthalates to the formaldehyde that's in our walls. These things all hang around, and if your body doesn't do a good job of filtering them, you're not going to be able to get into ketosis. Parasites, molds, mold exposures, heavy metals, and other biotoxins. And then this SIBO is small intestinal bowel overgrowth. And if you have a lot of intestinal bloating, especially with different types of meals, this could possibly be something for you. And if that's going on, just let me know and we can explore that a little bit further. So your grocery list, this is in your book. This is in, I have an electronic copy. So if you guys are at the grocery store and you forgot your book, you always have your ebook in your email and it will give you your list. And if there is a meal that you guys love, do not feel like you have to do Monday for Monday and Tuesday for Tuesday. If you love Monday and you made a whole bunch of this and you have leftovers, just do Monday again. You don't have to like make each day specifically. And if you love one dinner here and one dinner here, you can interchange them. So don't worry. And if there's things that you hate, you're like, I will never do sardines, leave the sardines out. That's okay. I will say that sardines are your safest fish. They have very limited metals, little to none. Salmon, tuna, swordfish, those are notorious for high metal levels. So if we are doing fishes like that, I would say make sure you get them sourced properly, that they have been checked for metals. So just a little side note. And I can, if somebody's interested about properly sourced fish, I can give you a link for that. So I won't need to give you each day, but you can kind of just take a peek on what it is. And then I definitely want you guys to check in with goals and intentions. I feel as if we are much more successful if we have a specific goal. If you have no goal being here, you're probably going to get to week 2 or 3 and be like, you know, you're gonna see the next shiny thing and you're gonna run off. So if you keep coming back to what your goal's intention is, you will be successful. And my goal is to heal the best and the fastest the way I can. And the best way I know how is to get my cell autophagy going and to get my free stem cells that my body knows how to make. And I know this is the way to do it. And so that is my goal for this. And so, and maybe your goal is just to support me in this process and make it easier on me. Thank you. That's my selfishness. But truly write it down and have it a place where you can see it. Because if you revisit it more often, you're more likely to stick with it than if you look at it one time and don't remember in 4 weeks what your goal was for being here. When we're looking at next week, I just want you guys to just think about each day. When was the first time I ate a bite? Look at your clock. And then when was the last time before the last bite you had? So let's just say you had coffee with creamer at 8 a.m. There's your start point. And your last bite, you had dinner and it was at 6:15. That's your last bite of the day. This is going to be helpful as we're starting to create your feeding window and what's possible and not possible. I don't like you to try to bite off more than you can chew when we're starting to create feeding windows. So this will be helpful for us next week. And I will explain much more then. So this is a really awesome gift. And there is a series, and it's called the Interconnected series. And I purchased this from them and I offer it to you guys. And it talks about toxicity and how it affects our cells and different things in our environment that may be causing our hormone disruption, our adrenal dysfunction, pituitary, all that kind of stuff. And so I found it really, really valuable. And they do it in a really awesome way. They're about 45 minutes to an hour long. I've watched them in my car, or if you're at the gym or whatever and you want to put it on. But I couldn't look away. Like, it was awesome. I very much enjoyed, and it's very well done. Each chapter is done really, really well. So I hope that you guys enjoy it and take away something from it. If there's something that resonates with you and you're like, oh my gosh, Maria, I never thought of this, but could this be causing a problem? Bring it up to me. And we can investigate it a little bit further, but I think that you guys will appreciate this, and you can share it with your family and whoever else. So I just like to get the message out about environmental toxicity and how much it does affect us, and we're sometimes not aware of the things that could be causing us problems. So there's that, and these are our goals. So not eating less, just eating less often. Says, I'm gonna stop there. And then questions about anything that was said, or any of the rules for this week, or I don't even love the word rules because that kind of sounds like we're going to get in trouble or something, but the guidelines, how about that? Our guidelines for the week. Anybody have questions about guidelines? Anybody?
This is Angela. Can you send the slides from tonight
Absolutely.
out by email? That would be helpful.
Yeah. And I'll send week 1 and week 2 slides, and then I'll send the recording. I'll put that out as well.
Okay.
Okay. And if there's any time, everybody has a chart with me. So if there's any time during the week, if you guys need to message me through the board, just send me a message like, I'm stuck, I don't understand, whatever it is. Because stuff will come up as you're actually in it and you're doing it. You'll be like, wait, can I do that? Can I not do that? Just ask, and we'll all guide you. Anybody else?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
In terms of the good oils that you have, like the olive oil, there's a lot of different types of olive oils at all. Do you recommend a certain kind, or is there a brand that's readily available in the Tucson grocery stores that you'd say, this is what I would go for? I just want to make sure you get the right stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So make sure it's organic, whatever one you do. Filtered or unfiltered is fine. I just depends on if you like the kind of graininess of the unfiltered. Either's fine. Know this about olive oil, that you shouldn't really cook it over 350 because it will start to become rancid. So its smoke point is lower. So it's great for salads. It's great for sauteing. If you're going to do something on a higher heat, use avocado oil, because the rancid point for that, I think is smoke point, as they call it, is 425 on avocado oil. So it can go a bit hotter. So if you wanted to kind of fry something up, and I use it in an air fryer too. If you guys have never used an air fryer, they're really great. And it's great to put veggies in, and you can, you know, flash fry it with it's 1 tablespoon of oil in that, which makes it kind of nice. But avocado oil is great for that. And your butters have a little bit lower of a smoke point as well. So you can do it with your eggs, that kind of thing, but just don't, you obviously can't get butter too hot because it burns pretty quickly. But yeah, you can use I use Trader Joe's, and they also have one that has herbs in it. So it has like Italian herbs in it. And there's also a store called Alfonso's, and it's in St. Philip's Plaza. And they have really awesome olive oils that are all infused. So if you guys want to have some fun in there, they'll let you taste all the different oils, or they did pre-COVID. So I don't know if they still let you, but
Okay.
it's really nice for salads. But yeah, literally any type of, if it's organic is one of the biggest things. And then if you want it infused or not infused is fine. So.
Okay. And then you mentioned organic grass-fed butter. I do Kerrygold, but I don't know if it's organic. Okay.
It is.
Right.
Yeah, Kerrygold's awesome, and do it salted. If you're doing it unsalted, I would, you know, get salted as well, because that helps you get your salt in.
Okay.
And it just tastes better.
Well, I do the unsalted because I'm a bulletproof coffee fan, but can I still do that within the confines? Okay.
Yeah, you can do it that way too. And I'll put out some good little bulletproof recipes for you too, to have some fun stuff for your bulletproof.
Yeah, great.
And Cynthia, you're gonna hold on one second. You're muted. Let me unmute you.
My dog was barking. I just want to share with the new people, you know, I've gone through Maria's course, 7-week course. This is my 4th time. And I've gone through a wonderful annual transition. And the first 7 weeks was, you know, you getting established and understanding a different life change. It was not hard at all. But I did go through when I was eating so much oils that I did have a lot of bathroom time. So I encourage you to put your oils in your foods instead of so much oils in your coffee, which really can activate your digestive system. But, you know, that's all I want to share, because it was an issue for like weeks and weeks and weeks. And, but then now that was my first 7-week series, and I haven't had that the last couple of series. When you learn how to use oils in your meals.
Going low and slow as we start out. Like if you were to just take a tablespoon of MCT oil in the beginning, it could be dangerous if you go to work or do that at work. So, but yeah, it does evolve kind of over time, and you do get used to putting it in your foods, but it does get easier to just have it. And if anybody has had gallbladder out, sometimes we need some like ox bile and digestive enzymes if that seems to be a problem. I've had my gallbladder out, and so I know it can be a problem for certain people, and we just need to get the digestive enzymes corrected, and there just needs to be a little sync with your fat and how your bile is released. So if that's an issue for anybody, just let me know. Anybody else?
I do have one more question.
Okay.
So we're trying to reduce our carbohydrates down to 30 to 50 grams this week. Is there a restriction on protein at all, or?
Ooh, good question. So what we'll do is, and I'll send this to you, Tom. I'll look at your InBody, and I'll go off your lean body mass. And I like to take half of your lean body mass, which is your muscle, and do that in grams for protein, because protein can actually take you out of ketosis. And because there's something called gluconeogenesis, big long fancy word that basically means we're taking protein and we're turning it into glucose for the body. So if we eat too much protein, it can actually take us out of ketosis. So that's why half our lean body mass is a pretty good number. So for women, we roughly are around like anywhere from 40 to 60, and then men I usually find anywhere from 50 to 70, depending, is kind of where you end up being. Gabe, what was your number when you're on your protein? How many grams?
It was in the 60s. I can't remember exactly, but then I was playing around with going higher than that towards the end, just because I lift weights.
And that can, as you start to get more stable into ketosis, we will have fluctuations. So between feast and famine, on your feast day, we may take your protein up, and we'll figure out what works better for you. So some people do better with increased carbohydrates on that day, and other people do better with increased protein. So we'll kind of figure out what's better for you. And we may, again, towards the end, as you start to get, it's easier and easier for your body to get into ketosis, you can start to tolerate more protein. So, but just in the beginning, we'll take half your body weight and we'll see kind of how your body abides.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
And Angela, if anytime you want to swing by the office and do an in-body, I let you guys come by once a week. So if you guys want to just come by, jump on, the girls will upload it into your chart, and I'll have that information for you. But I like you to be able to see your changes, how you're making each week, because things sometimes can get discouraging and you'll not realize that it's water weight, or that you actually lost body fat and you gain muscle mass. So this is a really good way of helping us gauge that. And so if you feel discouraged one day and realize that, oh, wow, I'm down 2% body fat, that's so much better. So
Yes. I have an appointment later this week,
perfect.
so I'll just do it then.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, and then I'll look at it and I'll send you your protein. Okay.
Great.
I have a quick question.
Uh-huh.
If you could look at my last in-body and tell me how many calorie-wise we're actually at, because I just finished the Des Bio stuff that you gave me,
Right.
and I was doing 1,000 calories a day on that, but I don't know if I should increase it or keep it the same, because I still have like 80 pounds that I want to lose. So I just want to make sure I'm doing enough,
And
so I don't.
Yep. And I looked at your last one, and I know that your basal metabolic rate will be at 1,200. So that will be fine.
Okay, that's what I'll keep it at then.
Great. Anybody else?
So I would like to know, everyone's here for a reason. Some people want to lose weight. Some are cyclers. They want to have endurance and long distance and all that. Some people are lifting weights, like Gabe. And so, we're all in here for a different reason, but we're going through the same program. So that's pretty cool that this is so universal. But I didn't know if I was going to be working out more, that I could increase my protein intake.
Yeah, and we can do that on your feast days. And we can, now that you're more well adapted, we may be able to increase it, and you may be able to stay in easily because you've done it for so long. Like you're going to be able to burn through that glucose spike a lot easier than you did before. So we may be able to increase that a bit.
I have a question for Tom. So you got in ketosis in 1 week?
Oh no, I think that was Gabe.
You got in ketosis this week?
Yeah. Just I was in ketosis for 2 days, and then I had a feast day. Now I'm working my way back.
So how long did it take you to be in ketosis?
Well, I really started on Tuesday because I thought we were going to start last Tuesday. So actually I have it all spreadsheeted. Hang on just a second.
Gotta love the spreadsheet. Everybody has it.
No, don't we do? We're getting serious about this.
Yeah, so I crossed over into ketosis on the 6th, which was, what day is that?
That would have been
Friday.
Wednesday.
So Friday and Saturday I was in ketosis, and then not. And so I think but I'm climbing back up, so I think I may cross that threshold tomorrow morning.
Well,
when
you know, getting ketosis in 3 days is incredible, because when I first started, it took 3 weeks. And you get
Yeah.
discouraged sometimes that you
I've
don't get into ketosis and you're doing it right, you know?
I have haphazardly continued to eat this way since I did the program back in, I wanted, maybe we ended in May. I thought it was earlier than that.
You said January class, I think.
January. No, that's right. Yeah, everything we did was in person. This was pre-COVID. Okay. Yeah.
Pre-COVID, right?
So since then, I've been sort of eating this way, you know, and so I've sort of been in and out of ketosis over that time as well.
So this is what Maria told me is because I've also, I mean, I really got all my weight loss and my body composition exactly the way I wanted it. And then when you go back and just, not that you're going to go back and have hamburgers and French fries, but you still have this eating habit and you're still doing your intermittent fasting. But if you haven't done it for like 2 or 3 weeks, how long does it take you to get fat adapted is what you're saying, is you got fat adapted really quickly. And
Yeah.
Maria was telling me, don't worry about having to start start with 3 meals a day and 2 snacks. You know, I'm already there. So it's like, I think that tomorrow, which is going to be my day to get really started on my 222 and my intermittent fasting, that I probably can get in ketosis in the same amount of time as you, maybe 2 or 3 days, which is great.
Yeah.
Tell the group next week what it took you. And I'll tell you guys too, I'll give you guys the link for Keto Mojo. You can get a meter. It's fun to have a meter because it really lets you know how close you are, like to the point. So it's 1.2. Strips are okay when you first get started because it gives you kind of a gross number. But when you really want to get specific and you're trying to like know how close am I to the next number, like how close am I from 1 to 2, and how close am I from 2 to 3, and that's where Keto Mojo is nice, and it has ketones and glucose in the same meter, so you don't have to have 2 separate meters, and it will let us know. It's nice to know like where you are when you wake up, and then where you are before you eat, and this is where we'll play with the coffee thing. So if you're a coffee drinker, we'll drink your coffee, we'll take your ketones and glucose, have your coffee, and then 30 minutes later, take your ketones and glucose, and we'll see if you had any spikes. And if you didn't have any spikes, then no problem. Then you can have your coffee all you want, and you don't ever have to worry about that. Some people, they get more of a cortisol boost, and that's when your adrenals are a little bit more taxed. I know that 2 classes ago, I was absolutely doing no coffee at all because my adrenals were spent and I couldn't do it. But I've luckily gotten over that, which is really great. But sometimes it's just where you are for where you are, right? You just have to go with it. So we'll see where you are at this specific moment in time, and we'll work through whatever we need to work through.
What you're telling me, if I want to have my whipping cream in my coffee, that if I can test it after I have it to see whether it changes, to see whether I can still have it, because I really want to have my whipping cream in my coffee.
Exactly. That's exactly right. You can give us your grade. Did you pass or fail? So,
how long does it take if you order it? Is it like the Amazon free shipping, or is it a few weeks, or how long does it ship? Or
guys, do you remember how quickly it took you to get your Keto Mojos?
I got mine on Amazon, and so it was quick.
It was quick. I would not wait 1 minute to place the order. Order it tonight. It is the best. It is your friend to keep. I mean, it's like, you're making your coffee and you do your, it is like a big part of this whole thing because it keeps you on track.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was a game changer for me in the beginning. Like I had just tried to like use urine strips and things. They do have a breath meter. it can be not as efficient as sensitive, but it is pretty good. Although I think it's a little bit more costly than a Keto Mojo. A Keto Mojo is pretty inexpensive.
What I love about the Keto Mojo is you get all of these videos, and the website has recipes. I mean, it's more, you get more than just the little test
phone. That's the other cool thing too, is it will sync with your phone, and it will keep track of all of it for you. And so too, you could even share that to me. If you're like, I don't understand, you could share me your readings and I'll see them. So it's got a lot of cool functions to it. The first one was a little bit more archaic. It didn't have that. And then they had these little chips, but now it's all in the same thing, and all Bluetooth pairs and all that stuff. So
Okay.
it's it's not a must, but it's a nice thing.
Okay.
Is it a finger prick that you?
Yeah. It is a baby finger prick. It doesn't hurt. It's really not that bad. It's got like a micro 32 gauge needle. It's a very tiny, and it's very, very short. So it's not bad at all.
When you order it, if you haven't ordered it, it's going to give you a small amount of the strips, maybe a two week amount of strips, but you go ahead and order another duplicate of the glucose and the ketosis strips. Just go ahead and order the package of the double of those, because you get a few. And then the little needle thing, just go down to CVS and get a package of needles, because it doesn't come, I think it comes with 5 needles. But Maria, do you change the needles every time, or do you just sanitize them and use them 2 or 3 times?
I think it's because, yeah, I let other people use my thing, so I have to change my needles out.
I get maybe a week of pricks. I get a week of pricks, then you throw away the needle. You don't have to be anal about sanitizing, and not having to throw away your needles every day, because you may be pricking yourself 2 or 3 times a day.
I reuse my insulin ones all the time. I mean, it's for you. It's not like you're sharing it with somebody else. I know that people are like, oh, really hyper about needles in that respect, but you're not sharing with anybody else. It's your own body. So I don't get too concerned about that. No.
Okay.
But yeah, and then when you get it, if you get the meter and you look at it and you're like, I don't know how to put it together, bring it to the office. Nancy will help you. She is a whiz at it. So just have her help you get it all squared away.
They have videos too.
Yeah. If there any other questions? No? Okay. Anything comes up during the week, let me know. I will give everybody their protein stuff by tomorrow. And then Angela, whenever you get yours, when you're in office, we'll give it to you then. And
Okay.
I'll write Andrea a note.
I sent a note to Nancy. The workbook has a website at the very top under week 2. And when you go onto that, it just is a website, but to be able to get into the weeks, you've got to have a password or something, don't you?
Oh, into the book? I'll get you a password.
Yeah, because you get in there, but I would like to get deeper into the site.
Okay, no problem. I'll get that handled. Yep. Absolutely.
You were about to say something?
Oh, I'll have Andrea go over the lean body mass, and I'll put a note in your chart of how she can calculate it for you, so you can have it.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. I hope you guys have an awesome night. It was great to have everybody here. We'll have a few stragglers. I know that they text me and let me know that they've had kid stuff that came up. So you guys will have a few more next week, and we'll all be one team. So if you're, and Tom, I will get you in the Facebook group. You will be in there.
Can you add me?
Yes, ma'am. Did you follow did you follow Edge?
I don't have a clue. I don't think so.
Okay, so if you follow Edge, I can get you in the group. Because it's a private group, you have to follow Edge first, and then Edge invites you. All these
okay.
Facebook are there's all these little wraparounds. I wish I could just invite you, but you have to go from the Edge thing, because Edge created it. That's why.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, I'll get you in there, and then you can have all the recipes and all that stuff that we post. And if there's anything that you guys, Gabe, Cynthia, Sherry, like that you have in your arsenal, share it with the rest of the group. Some type of your go-to fat bomb or your go-to, like, you know, bulletproof coffee, something like that. Share that with the group.
Okay.
It's nice to know other people's go-tos, because
Yeah.
they're, you know,
On the
like,
face, share on the face group.
yeah, please.
Right.
Awesome. All right, you guys have an awesome night. It was great having you guys, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah,
Take care.
Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
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 Bye, Maria.